In this video, we're going to break down the number one thing that your spirit guides want you to know right now. This is Jake Ducey with JakeDucey.com, and let's dive right into this video. So, what's most people's biggest problem? It's fear, right? First of all, it's the fear of death. And it's this attachment that we have to our physical senses because we've been programmed to believe we're these little physical bodies. And we get so stuck and programmed into this dimension that we become terrified of our own mortality. This type of actual fear ultimately manifests in our daily life as smaller things, and that's the death of the ego. Really, it's the death of our own mortality, but then it translates into the death of our ego, and that's our persona, that's the story that we have about ourselves, that's our self-image, and we want to protect and uphold that self-image. So our mind is constantly trying to avoid anything that could threaten our ego, such as the fear of starting a business and it doesn't work out. You don't want to start a business and it not work out. So then the mind talks you out of it. Maybe it's seeing somebody, a man or a woman that's attractive, and you want to go over and talk to them, but you're afraid they might say no, or you'll get embarrassed in front of people in Publix, so then you don't do it. And this translates across the board. You can ask yourself one question: what am I afraid of most? What am I afraid of most? Is it you're afraid of looking bad on camera so you don't make your YouTube channel, or you're afraid of not being very good at the guitar so year after year you tell yourself you're going to do it, then you don't, or starting your album or your business or your nonprofit, or making that extra sale, or asking that person out, or asking that person to this or that? What is it? What's that fear? Now, unconsciously, our mind has associated that fear with the fear of death. And what stops us most in life is this overarching fear that just overtakes us. So what your spirit guides really want you to know, and in essence, what that means is if you have a spirit guide, if there is there some type of higher power, higher intelligence, what this is ultimately telling you is that there's no such thing as death. Because everything is simply energy and you're simply a point of awareness, and when death happens, what it really is just a changing of form. Energy is never created or destroyed, it's simply transferred to a different state. Just like you can go from an ice cube to water to gas, i.e. it going from visible to invisible. Similarly, that's what happens to us, to our consciousness. So there really is no such thing as death. There might be a parting of this physical form and a sense of identity that we have to our own egos, but there's no such thing as death. And this is what the big secret is that can set us free. And that's what our spirit guides are trying to tell us. And that's ultimately what all of our intuition is leading us towards, because if we can grasp that, then there's no reason to be afraid of anything else in our life anyways. There's no reason to be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. You can do it. There's nothing to be afraid of. And when we grasp that there's nothing to be afraid of, we can face our fears, we can face our biggest dreams, and we can become the best version of ourselves, because we realize the only real fear is just fear itself. And that's the big shift. So comment down below, there's nothing to be afraid of. Comment down below, there's nothing to be afraid of. And when we grasp this, it goes, oh my gosh, this is the big awakening that's happening. I'm an infinite, immortal being. I'm an infinite consciousness. I live in an infinite universe, and I create my reality with consciousness. It's time to go out there and change the world. It's time to go out there and create my best life, create abundance, success, love, happiness. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's no reason to talk myself out of my dream anymore, because what's the worst that can happen? Not that much, in a world where at the end of the day, there really is no such thing as regrets, because you're an eternal being anyways, so there's no reason to not go for it, to face your fears. There's no reason not to face the fear of failure, because what's the worst that could happen? Really, the worst that could happen isn't that bad. Because even when the worst happens, it can always get better right after that. So the real question to ask is, what's the best that could happen? Have you ever asked yourself that question before? What's the best that could happen? What's the best that could happen today? What's the best that could happen tomorrow? What's the best that could happen 1 year from now? If you look back and you say, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to show up as the best version of myself. I'm not going to talk myself out of greatness anymore. I'm going to go over and I'm going to ask that person out. I'm going to start that business. I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to move to that place. I'm going to finally get in shape. What's the best that could happen? I'm willing to bet you that the best that could happen, if you realize that there's nothing to be afraid of, I'm willing to bet that the best that could happen is so far beyond anything that you could possibly imagine. So your higher self is saying, it's time to make it happen. So this is Jake Ducey with JakeDucey.com. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure that you hit the like button on this side or this side. Make sure you subscribe. And thank you for watching this video. If you want to supercharge your subconscious mind, reprogram it, get rid of all those limiting beliefs society has programmed into us that stop us from attracting what we want, right there down below is JakesHypnosis.com. It's right there down below. It's at JakesHypnosis.com. It's my free success hypnosis to reprogram your subconscious mind. When you can reprogram your subconscious mind, guess what? You can really start to move the needle because 95% of our life is subconscious and it's been programmed by other people. The word subconscious means below conscious. It's habitual. It's a record player that's controlling our whole lives and stopping us from attracting what you really want. But if you reprogram your mind, if you hypnotize yourself for greatness, you start to become a magnet for fantastic things that come into your life. So right there down below, pinned to the comments, is JakesHypnosis.com. It's my free success hypnosis. 1 million people from all over the world have now used it. Every day I get these amazing success stories. So go ahead, use it right there down below, and then let me know the great things that come into your life.